Hello and welcome to this ETZ video for client entry. Clients are entered in the ETZ system via the reference data menu and client entry. As you can see, this brings up a brief summary of the client information. For your information, you can edit a client record by selecting the pencil icon. And you can also search for specific clients using the keyword search located here above. To add a new client, simply click on the Add New Client button. Some fields are mandatory within the client entry screen, and some are not essential. The ones which need to be focused on are as follows. Agency reference. This field is normally used when importing clients from a front office system such as Bullhorn that has its own unique reference code which differs to the one held on your accounts package. If you'd like this option to be available to you, please contact our support desk. We then have sales ledger code. This field is very important as it is the reference that will be used when exporting sales invoices for this customer to your account system and acts as the identifier for the record. Scrolling down, we then have billing contact. This is the name that appears on the sales invoice to your client. For example, accounts payable. Scrolling further down, we then have address. When adding an address, please leave no gaps as this will be pulled over on the sales invoice. We then have payment terms. These are specific to the client. If no terms are entered, it will take the default terms you have entered on the agency reference page. Sales tax type. This is defaulted as standard to 20% for the UK. As you can see, there are other sales tax types available and you need to select the relevant sales tax for your client. If you need additional sales tax entries to be available, for example Ireland, then please contact our support team. We then have must invoice with purchase order. If this box is ticked, it will prevent the system issuing a sales invoice out to your client without having a purchase order on it. This is beneficial if you have clients who refuse to pay invoices without a purchase order number attached. We then have charge employers NI. Ignore this box as it is only relevant to the ATE mode. Exclude NI from margin. Again, ignore this box as it is only relevant to the ATE mode. We then have billing cycle. This indicates the frequency on how you want to bill your client. You select the relevant choice for this particular client. Following this, we have invoice grouping. This reflects how you wish timesheets to be collated for invoices. If you have clients with whom you have a self-bill agreement in place, you will need to select the manual/self-bill option. The system will not auto-generate an invoice, but will create transactional details which you can export into your accounts package. The options available are every timesheet. This option will produce a separate invoice for each timesheet that has been validated. We then have candidate. This option will generate an invoice on a per candidate basis. This is the most common option. Following this, we have purchase order. This will collate timesheets for invoices by the purchase order attached to the assignments. So if a client has several POs in place, they will receive a separate invoice for each purchase order. Manual self-bill. This ensures the system will not automatically collate invoices for a client, and this option tends to be used where a self-billing agreement is in place and you wish to reconcile the system against the self-bill invoice received from your client. If this option is ticked, all invoices must be generated manually. Please be aware that if you set up the billing cycle and invoice grouping to be every timesheet, this triggers the system to automatically create a sales invoice once the timesheet has been validated. To demonstrate, I click billing cycle every timesheet and invoice grouping every timesheet. We then have last billing date. If when setting up a client you enter the date you last invoiced them, the system will calculate when the client is next due to be invoiced, based on the billing cycle, and will automatically update each and every time you invoice the client from the system thereafter. Invoice delivery. Enter the invoice delivery email address. You can enter more than one. You can do this by separating each address with a semicolon, and ensure the delivery mode is set appropriately. Setting the delivery mode as post will instruct the system to email the post email address you have set on your agency reference page, where you will then be able to print off the invoice and post it to your client if they advised they do not want to receive their invoices by email. Please note, large invoices will need to be sent via email with a link and not PDF, as many email servers will restrict the download size of the email they will deliver. You may also find that many large organisations may strip PDFs from the email content. We then have invoice template. There are several system templates available to use in the system. If you wish to change from using the default, please contact a member of our support team or refer to the knowledge base. Next we have invoice text. This feature allows you to create specific invoice text relating to the client, which can be attached to each sales invoice produced from the system. This feature can be used if you want to remind your customers to pay on time. The client entry is now complete, and you now must click on the update to save the record. Once saved, this will take you back to the client summary screen, where you will see your new client record has been created. For more information on the system, please see our knowledge base. For additional help on the system, please contact support. Thank you for watching this video on client entry. Goodbye.